The purpose of Wealth Talk is to educate, inform, and hopefully entertain you on the subject of building your wealth. WealthBuilders recommends you should always take independent financial, tax, or legal advice before making any decisions around your finances.
Welcome to episode 181 of Wealth Talk. My name is Christian Rodwell, the Membership Director for WealthBuilders, and I'm not joined today by our founder, Mr. Kevin Whelan, because he is enjoying himself in Florida for a week of golf, and why shouldn't he? So this week, I'll be bringing you a recording of last week's webinar that we hosted for people who are looking to make a big change in 2023. Maybe that's you, and you're looking to really start accelerating your own wealth building journey that I'm going to be walking you through today, the 9-step recurring revenue roadmap, the process that we teach our members to move from a place of financial insecurity through to security and beyond to financial independence. And if you're looking for support, if you're looking for a community of like-minded people, and you're looking for a clear plan of how you can start building wealth, then today's episode should be a good one for you. And I'll be sharing with you some of the examples of how we've been helping our members. And I definitely would point you back to last week's episode, which is 180, where we interviewed Neil Morgan, who was one of our members who joined just 2 years ago, and him and his wife, Katie, are now making in excess of £3,000 per month from their different assets. So it is absolutely possible, and we're at the start of a new year. So imagine what you could achieve if you had a clear plan and the right support around you within the next 12 months. And if you're interested, after listening to today's episode, to have a chat with me and actually discuss your own plan, really understand whether this can work for you, then I'd love to have that time with you. And you can go and book a call by going to wealthbuilders.co.uk/GPS. So let's not wait around. Let's get to today's episode. I'm going to be sharing with you tonight everything that we do to help our members generate predictable recurring income from assets. And we've got a very clear plan as to how people can achieve that within a time frame of about 5 years to go from complete financial insecurity to financial independence. I'm going to show you exactly how some of our members have achieved that. All right, so introduce myself. My name is Christian Rodwell. I'm the Membership Director for WealthBuilders. I'm going to show you what the 7 assets are that you can use to build wealth and create multiple streams of recurring income for yourself so that you're not dependent on one source. And we're going to show you there's a roadmap. There's a step-by-step process you can follow, which has worked for hundreds of others and can work for you just the same. We are very, very focused on helping people that are the right fit for what we have to offer. So we need to have a conversation with anybody first who is interested in working with us to make sure that we can help you, and also make sure you're the right fit for our community, that you're someone who's committed, that you're someone who's going to show up, and that you've got the resources as well, because it's very difficult to build wealth if you're starting with nothing. But we can show you how to get started if you are in that position. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. I've got a very special bonus, and this is your opportunity to book a 45-minute call with me where we will go through your own personal plan. And we'll do something called the Financial GPS. I will go through on that call with you and look at the opportunities within each of the 7 pillars that you perhaps haven't seen for yourself. So I'll tell you how to book that call. It's going to be completely for free. I'm going to give you a maximum value on that call. Okay. So there's no sales. It really is just to help you get on the right track. So how is Wealth Builders different? I dare say you've been on other webinars before, and you're obviously interested in building wealth. You're interested in entrepreneurship and making money. And you've probably been on webinars that are showing you how you can use property, or perhaps using the stock market, or selling things online, e-commerce. Now, Wealth Builders are holistic. And what we mean by that is we're not focused on one thing. We look at all of the different asset classes, and there are only 7. I'm going to show you exactly what those 7 are. And then within each of the asset classes, there are many, many different strategies. And where we're different is we take the time to really get to know you. So we're not trying to sell you on any one course, any one strategy. We understand you first. We get to know what your targets are. And then with our team of experts, we help you to identify the quickest way to get to your financial target and the safest way. And we build a plan with you. And whilst the roadmap that we teach is the same for everyone, your plan will be very specific to you. And that's what we do inside the Wealth Builders Academy. There's 9 steps, and we've tried to simplify it as much as possible so you can see there is a pathway to move from financial insecurity, which unfortunately is where 95% of the population find themselves, whereby they don't have enough income coming from assets each month in order to cover their outgoings. So as I say, most people rely on one source of income. And when we had the pandemic recently, we saw how fragile people's livelihoods were and jobs were, and that income can disappear. And then you're reliant on savings. And when the savings run out, what happens next? So if you want that peace of mind, if you want that long-term security, the only way to achieve that is to start focusing now on building assets that generate income without you needing to do the work. And the roadmap, it takes you through each of the steps that you need to put in place in order to achieve that and to reach financial independence. So I'm going to go through this with you so you can understand exactly how it works and see if this is something you think could work for you too. So what we say is, for most people, the journey from insecurity to independence is about 5 years. Now, within 60 days, we can help you to get a clear plan. So we can work with you, assign you with a coach to work with you as well, and get a plan so that you know what the steps are for you to reach your own financial goal. So within 60 days, we can create a plan for you so that in 60 months, you stand the best chance of achieving financial independence for yourself. And if you think about that, say 5 years might sound a long time, but 60 months, think how quickly actually that goes. Think back to 5 years ago from now. If you'd have actually started the process then, you'd be there already. It really comes down to most people not having a clear plan. Once you get a clear plan, then you really get certainty and you get enthused and you get more confidence when you're clear on what you're supposed to be doing. So most people don't have a clear plan. So that's the first step. Secondly, it's having good support around you. So trusted people that you can lean on for guidance, that have been there and done it, and not someone who's just trying to sell you onto the next course and the next course and the next course. It's not what we do at Wealth Builders. I'll show you to the Academy program. The Academy is one thing. If you're in, we give you everything. We're not ever trying to upsell you to more and more. So secondly, it's having good support and good people around you. And the third thing is really down to you. So if this is meaningful enough to you, if you really are committed, you really, really see the importance for yourself and your family of having that independence, so not reliant on working for someone else, trading time for money, then you can get there. And those 3 things are most critical. And I see that over and over again with our members, clear on their plan, they leverage the support they have, and they just keep going. So just a little tip for you there. If you think you're one of those people, I think you'd be a great fit for us. Okay, let me just share one of our members. And Richco came to one of my events I was running, my business, Escape the Rat Race. And Richco was working full-time. She was working for an airline company, and she wasn't really enjoying her job. And she thought there's got to be more to life than just keep turning up and doing the same thing every day. And she was exploring. So at this stage, she wasn't really sure what she wanted to do. Anyway, Richco started an online business. And then when I started working with Kevin at Wealth Builders, Richco was interested about what we were doing. And so Richco joined as one of our founder members. And Richco switched from her online business to focus on property. And she really enjoyed property, and she bought her first buy-to-let, and then she got her second and her third. And I think she's now on about 10 buy-to-lets since she joined in 2019. Richco was able to quit her job, and she's now focusing full-time on her own business. So that's just one example, and a very common one as well. Wealth Builders have got over 200 reviews on Trustpilot, and not just reviews, but 5-star reviews. Go and see for yourself. We're very open, very transparent, and our members are genuinely appreciative of the support, the guidance, the trusted community, the education that we provide. And you'll see those words come up time and time again. So please feel free to search Wealth Builders on Trustpilot. Go and read through those reviews for yourself, just to give you peace of mind if you need it. All right, so what holds people back? Let's really start to think about wealth now and where you are in your own personal journey to becoming financially independent. And wealth can mean different things to different people. Okay, so typically we're talking about money tonight, but wealth is the lifestyle, the amount of time you have. You're stressed, obviously your health, All of these things are tied in. And at the end of the day, it's really about happiness. It's about just enjoying your life. And if having a certain amount of money is important to enable you not to have to do things that you don't enjoy, then that really is something you need to be focusing on. And you need to get clear on exactly how much money you do need. And this is one of the first steps that we take with our members, is really crunching the numbers to find out, well, how much do you actually need to cover all of your essential outgoings every month? And then once those are covered, how much would you then need on top of that to live the life that really money's no problem? So if travel's important to you, if looking after your family is important, if having a nice house, a nice car, nice, luxury items, whatever's important to you, that's what we work out. And then we start to put the plan together from there. So here's some of the common things that we hear over and over again. Just haven't got enough time, or I just really don't know where to start, right? Just so much information, don't know where to begin. And sometimes it's a lack of support. And maybe you yourself now are on this webinar when your partner, husband, wife is watching TV or really just not interested. And they said, okay, you just go off and watch your thing. They don't really get it. Now, perhaps they're very supportive of you, but they don't really get it in the same way. And sometimes that can even lead to issues where, they really are quite worried. They think that you might be risking things. And, family members tell you, oh, don't do that. You're going to lose money. And that can dampen your confidence. And it can often hold people back. So they never, ever do anything at all. And they look back in 10, 20 years and it's too late and nothing has changed. So hopefully that won't be the case with you. I showed you here a 9-step roadmap with 3 stages there. And at the bottom, you've got stage 1, building confidence, stage 2, building knowledge, and stage 3 is building assets. Our promise, as I said, is to show you how to start 2023 building cash flowing assets in just 2 hours a week, because time is precious. And I know a lot of you are working full time, families, so you don't have a lot of time. So how can you do this? How can you get going? All right. So to recap on these 3 roadmap stages, stage 1, we will begin, which is building confidence. There are 3 steps in stage 1. And the first step is mindset. Step 2 is foundation. And step 3 is what we call the roof. So I'm just going to quickly cover these so you get a better understanding of, well, how does this all work? What am I missing? What am I not doing that I need to accelerate my own progress? So step 1, let's look at mindset. Now, there's many aspects included in step 1, but one of the key things that we kick off with our members is something called Wealth Dynamics. And this is an online assessment which was created by Roger Hamilton, an entrepreneur based out in Bali, founder of the Entrepreneurs Institute, previous mentor of mine, actually, someone that I respect very highly. And Roger created a test for entrepreneurs. And we give this assessment to all of our members who join the Wealth Builders Academy. And it helps you understand what your natural flow is as an entrepreneur, as a business person. So where should you be focusing your energy and your time to get the best results? And this is so powerful because, whilst we kind of know what type of people we are, we're either very outgoing, some of us are very introvert, some of us are very creative. You kind of know that about yourself, right? But when you take this assessment, it really hones in and gives you ultimate clarity over the things that you're really good at and the things that you're not good at. And the things you're not good at is where you need to start building your entrepreneurial team around you. But it's not easy to do that. But within the Wealth Builders community, because everybody has taken Wealth Dynamics, everybody knows what their profile is, everybody knows how they can help one another. So the networking, the connection is on real purpose, not just random. But when you take this assessment, it all becomes clear as to why perhaps what you've been doing up until this point hasn't been working and what you need to do differently in order to start seeing more success. So this is just one of the aspects of step 1, mindset. There's probably another 10 lessons included in this step. But of course, I can't go through all of these with you tonight. I'm just giving you a little sample just to help you get a bigger overall picture of what the process is to help you achieve financial independence. So first step, know yourself. All right. Step 2 is what we call the foundation. Now, some of you may have joined our recent challenge that we held before Christmas. It was called the Debits Challenge. And we've created an acronym. In fact, Kevin created the acronym because he loves an acronym. And it's a really good way of remembering things. And the debits process, step 2, foundation, is all about assessing the money coming in and out of your life. Now, there's many areas where perhaps we're overpaying. So I'm not just talking about things where, you've got subscription coming out of your bank account, you hadn't cancelled, you're paying a bit too much for your Sky. Those are important. Make sure you do review those things each year. But there's hidden fees. There's money in our lives that are just often overlooked. And we teach you many, many ways within the debits process to uncover hidden money in your life you didn't know existed. And you can see there what the debit stands for. It's managing debt. And debt is a, double-edged sword, good debt, bad debt, understanding the use of debt. Education. So one thing we teach our members is that education is always the first step. You need to understand what you're doing. So when it comes to an asset, when it comes to a strategy, you can't just go in without any knowledge of how it works. So you need to get some education. And there's different forms of education out there. Free education, plenty of that out there. Sometimes there's paid education and there's people who would teach you. And the choice really is yours, but you've got to get some education. You've got to understand things. And we teach our members often how they can get paid education for free. And there's certain strategies that we help our members to use in order to do that. And again, it's really just leveraging. It's understanding what you've already got in your life and how you can leverage that to get education for free. Bills, reviewing bills, easy way to cut costs. And when you cut costs, it's about what do you do with that money that you've now saved. It's not just to go out for a nice meal, although you could do that, treat yourself, but it's really about deploying that saved money into wealth building activities. So putting it into some investments, putting it into deposits, putting it into a new business, different ways. Insurance, tax, stock market, I'm not going to go through all of those, but stock market certainly is a big one because that's where we really dive into the hidden fees around investments and pensions. And we can often help reduce those fees by up to 50%. And when you work out the savings over the long term, that compounded growth, it can come to many, many tens of thousands of pounds that stay in your pocket rather than are paid to experts and fund managers and people that really, you don't need necessarily, with a little bit of knowledge as to how you can manage these things yourself. So debits process, step 2, foundation. And in step 2, we also look at the 5 levels of wealth, which is really how much do you need to be financially secure and how much do you need to be financially independent. Just share with you another story from one of our members, and this is Luke. So Luke joined us as a founder member back in 2019, along with Richiko. And Luke went through the debits process. Only took him a couple of hours, but he saved a total of £3,700. Okay, and Luke was already in property. So he was able to put some of that money back into property, and he's since formed a joint venture with another of our members. So what we find is when our members really start to build relationships with one another, because it's such a trusted community, everyone's talking the same language, they understand the 7 pillars, they know what we're talking about when we say debits. So our members really build very strong relationships. And over time, some of those relationships lead to partnerships, working together on property projects, lending money to one another, or even starting businesses. In the case of Luke, where he set up a business with one of our other members, John. John is now one of our wealth coaches. So they can see the relationship aspect of what we do at WealthBuilders is really important. We're not just here to sell you a course and then leave you to it. We are with you every step of the way. Support is absolutely paramount to us, and the support provided in all different ways, whether it's group, one-to-one, help desks, Facebook groups. Do your own research. Have a look at the Trustpilot reviews. You will see for yourself that what I'm saying hopefully is backed up by what our members are saying too. So there's some proof, the debits process. What about if you could generate £3,700 of savings just in a couple of hours by following that process too? And Luke, since joining us, has also been able to quit his job, which was a real ambition of his. So well done to Luke. And just another quick example, this is Adnan. So I mentioned about reviewing pensions. Well, one of the big things that we ask all of our members to do is actually look back and make sure they haven't lost any pensions. And you might think, well, hang on a minute, how can you lose a pension? But you'd be amazed to know that there's £20 billion worth of lost pension money in the UK. I'm absolutely serious. Okay, so an unbelievable amount of money that people have simply left behind or forgotten. And especially women, because when we get married, their names change and pensions get lost and forgotten. So, for anyone, if you've worked in, a number of jobs, even if it was a long time ago and you think, there won't be anything there. Well, if it was 20, 30 years ago, then what might have been a little pension then might be quite a significant amount now. And whilst Adnan found £50,000, the most amount that we've had one of our members find is 250,000. So it's worth looking back. If all you do from tonight is take a little bit away, then please do check your pensions. And Adnan was able to reinvest that money back into a SSAS, which is a type of pension that we help our members with for business owners, and use that for building his property portfolio. And the final step here, so there's 3 steps in the foundation stage, all about building your confidence. Step 1 was mindset, step 2 was foundation, and step 3 here is what we call the roof. And if you're listening to the podcast, you might have heard myself and Kevin talk about the roof a lot, because the roof is really important. And this is the protection of you and your assets. And the reason why it comes early on is because you really want to get these things in place before you start to build wealth. Because if you're already building wealth and you don't have wills in place, you haven't got powers of attorney, and something goes wrong, well, maybe from experience or of someone, but it's a very, very difficult situation that you'll find yourself in. And we don't want that to happen to anybody at all. So just by getting the wills done, right? Or if they're old, get them updated, make sure in place. Similarly with the powers of attorney. And we teach other things in the roof as well. So looking at home ownership, there's different ways that you can own your home. Some are much more, beneficial to you than others. And also the use of trusts and looking at life insurance. Have you got life insurance? Is it the right type of insurance? Is it held in the way it should be held? So the roof is something that's perhaps not the most exciting. The will's perhaps been on your to-do list, something you've got to do. You don't get around to it. One of those things just keep putting off. Well, we make sure you get these done. Okay, so that is the first stage of the roadmap. Let's look now at stage 2 of the roadmap. Stage 2 we call building knowledge. So once you've got the foundations in place, gives you peace of mind. You know that what you're doing now is on a firm foundation, that you haven't got any leaks in your bucket, you haven't got money disappearing in holes that shouldn't be there. Now's the time to start learning about the 7 pillars. In step 4, we call that assets, and we refer to assets as pillars. And there are only 7 pillars. The WealthBuilders logo, you can see, it's compiled of a foundation at the bottom, of a roof at the top, and of the 7 pillars in the middle. And this is our aim, is to help you get all of this in place so you have an extremely strong structure. And the more pillars you can have, the stronger that structure will be. If you're just relying on one source of income, one pillar, and that pillar disappears or falls down, then the whole thing comes crumbling. So the more pillars you can put in place, the better. And the 7 assets, got 3 on the right-hand side: home capacity, pensions, and investments. And on the left-hand side, starting at the bottom, property portfolio, business, intellectual property, and joint ventures. It's on the right-hand side, the home, your pensions, and your investments. These are typically what we call the traditional pillars. So, for generations in the past, parents, grandparents, this is typically how people have built their wealth. They've got a home, they've had a pension, perhaps they've worked somewhere for majority of their life and their pension's built up with that same company. And they've put money into some kind of savings or investments, stocks. And for the most part, that is what people are relying on when it comes to retirement. Now, for those who can remember back to 2008, and even more recently, but 2008, when we had the big financial crisis. Now, for those people who were about to retire then, and they were banking on their home, they were banking on their pension, and they were banking on their investments, well, we all know they had a pretty nasty shock because the prices dropped by about 30%. So pensions obviously invested in the stock market. We've got the housing market, and then your investments in the market as well. So you have no control over that. So I think someone said control, and that's exactly right. you can't control the housing market. You can't control the stock market by yourself. So you really are riding a bit of a roller coaster if that is your retirement plan. Now, I'm not saying it can't work. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying it's risky because you can't really guarantee that that's going to be, how you want it to be at the right time. Now, the 4 pillars that you can see on the left-hand side there, these are what we call the entrepreneurial pillars. So the entrepreneurial pillars, you do have a level of control, more control with, because you can build a property portfolio which can generate cash flow for you. So you're in control, obviously, of the different types of property, and you're in control of the tenants. The business, whilst difficult to create a successful business, the returns that a business can generate can be infinite almost. If you're good at marketing, if you're good at generating new business, then it can be extremely profitable and very high cash flow. You don't easily generate cash flow from the 3 on the right. Okay, pensions, you have to wait obviously till later in life. In the stock market, yes, of course, you can get dividends. Again, not necessarily reliable. Those will go up and down. But the pillars on the left, more control and much greater returns. So those are some of the differences. Now, what you can do is really use those 3 on the right as the fuel to power your entrepreneurial journey. So obviously, if you have a home and there's equity in that, builds up over time, then that money is just really dead money sat in your property. Now, you might be very happy with that. You might want to pay off your mortgage and just that is, your kind of comfort area. But for some people, they want to use that money. They want to take that money. They want to make it work for them. Same with pensions. Most people think that is just a box that you can't touch until you're 55. Well, that's not necessarily the case. And WealthBuilders are, one of the leading experts in the UK with helping people, business owners, understand how they can leverage their pensions before the age of 55. So if you're a property investor, if you're a business owner, then there's a type of pension which we help a lot of people with. It's called a SSAS pension. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on that. SSAS, you can certainly reach out to us, separately. We'll send you some details. But yeah, so it essentially allows you to access your money now and really make that work a lot harder than it is sat in the stock market. And the same with investments. What's the return you're getting on your investments? If you're happy with it, great. If you're not, perhaps you can take some of that money and take it across to the other side, put it into a business, put it into property. And intellectual property is really something that we've all got. It's turning your knowledge into something that can be created once, but sold over and over again. So perhaps you've got an idea, you can patent that, you can create a franchise, you can write a book, you can teach what you know in a course, and something that can be sold 24 hours or, you can get some kind of royalty for. And joint ventures is the final pillar there. And joint ventures is really bringing value, 2 people coming together and sharing that value through an income stream, which can benefit you both. And joint venture is very popular, of course, in property and in business. Of course, there's many ways to joint venture as well. So you can see there a lot more control, a lot more ability to earn a high degree of cash flow. There are 7 assets. You need to understand those. And once you do understand them, then you can start to eliminate the ones which perhaps are not suitable for you at this moment in time and focus on the 1 or 2 that are most suitable. And that is what we help you to do inside the Academy. So perhaps you don't know where to begin. We will use our expertise and our coaches who will be able to work out which the right ones are for you to begin with. We are about community. We see the power of working with other people that are like-minded. And if you feel a little bit on your own with this wealth building journey, then, perhaps this is something that will help you to get the confidence and, see other people that are succeeding and be able to talk to them and ask them what they've been doing, and get that guidance that perhaps is lacking right now. Step 5. So we're in the middle of our roadmap now. We've gone 1, 2, 3 along the bottom. We're now in the middle row and we're 5 bang in the middle of our 9-step roadmap. And this is key. So leverage is all about looking at different areas of things you've already got in your life that can help you to build more wealth. And when we talk about leverage, people often just think about financial leverage. Okay, so what money they've got. What's holding me back? Well, I haven't got any money, right? I just can't do anything. Well, yes, that does hold you back to some degree, but it shouldn't stop you from starting. And, we know that a lack of financial leverage is not a reason to stop building or to not start building wealth. So I'll run through FIRST, another acronym Kevin created. Financial leverage could come from your home, could come from your pension, could come from cash that you've got, could come from investments, could come from savings, could come from your property portfolio, could come from your business, could come from other people that you know. So financial leverage is all around, all right? Intellectual leverage. We've all got intellectual leverage. We've all got experiences. We've all got knowledge. We've all done stuff in our lifetime. And most of us have got interests and passions. So things that we know a lot about that perhaps other people don't know as much. And there's often a case where people will pay you for that knowledge. So using your intellectual leverage to start generating income. Relationship leverage. So this is either close people around you, relationships such as family, friends, work colleagues, or people like coaches and mentors. So really leveraging the people around you, not in a bad way. Leverage isn't about, bad things. It's about working together. It's about making the most of the opportunities that are all around us. Systems. So once you start to build a business or perhaps even at work, right? How can you systemize things so that you're more efficient, so that you create more time, which is the final piece at the bottom? Because you've got to leverage your time. You've got to make sure that when you're focusing on wealth building activity, that it's income generating activity, not just being busy. Sometimes you get to the end of the week and you go, God, I've been so busy this week, right? But actually you look back and you think, what have I achieved? I've been busy, but I haven't actually generated any results. And we don't want that to happen. And that's why we have coaches. That's why we have one-to-one coaching, because they get to know you and they hold you accountable. And there's no hiding. You've got your coaching call coming up and you can't say, oh, I've been busy, because they'll say, okay, what's the results? What's actually happening to move you forwards? And that's what we all need, all right? We need someone to be a little bit tough with us, who's been there, who knows what needs to be said in order to get some results. So leverage, a lot more involved. And as I say, I'm just pulling out little bits from each of the steps. There's so much more we teach within each of these steps, but I'm just giving you a little flavor and hopefully it's making sense and hopefully it's helping you. Right. So Neil, another member, just quickly share Neil's story. Neil joined a bit more recently, only a couple of years ago. And Neil lives up in Scotland. He's got a very, very sort of full-on sales job, global executive sales person. And he's still found the time. So the excuse that people have of, oh, I'm too busy. Well, you know what? If it's important enough for you, you can find the time. And Neil, again, leveraged the community. So Neil didn't have all the answers, but when he didn't have the answer, he'd post a question in the Facebook group, other people would comment, and he now is connected with so many people, all see photos of him, meeting up and having lunches and property networking events. And it's really, really good to see. And Neil leveraged some of the existing assets. So as I said, he had a good job. So he was bringing in a good income, but he wasn't generating any cash flow from any assets. So quickly turn that around after following the steps that we taught him. Hats off to Neil. And we interviewed Neil as well on our Wealth Talk podcast and in fact, Richco as well. So I'm sharing a little bit of their stories, but if you want to actually tune into the Wealth Talk podcast and have a listen to them explain exactly how they did it themselves, then head to wealthtalk.co.uk. All right then. So the final step of stage 2. So we're talking about knowledge here. So we said about the 7 pillars. So you've got to know your pillar. Once you've got clear on which pillars you want to focus on, then you've got to know where your leverage is coming from. So you've got to work out, have I got financial leverage in some places, relationships, going through that. We've got a matrix which we help you to fill out so you can really pinpoint where your leverage is. And then the final step then is, what's your strategy going to be? And you've got to focus on really one thing. All right. It's easy to get distracted by lots of ideas, but once you know what pillars are, you know where your leverage is, it makes it so much clearer on what the right strategy is for you. And I'm just sharing one of our frameworks on the screen now. So property is a really popular pillar for our members. And, we know the love affair that the UK has with property. And it's very easy to replicate. All right. People have been doing property for a long time. Yes, it's getting a bit more difficult now. The government's made some changes. So, it's getting harder to make the same profit that it used to be able to make. But property is still a very good asset class. And there's so many different strategies within property. So we've created lots and lots of frameworks to help you. And this is just an example of one of 200 different frameworks that we have inside our Academy workbook. Following the process I've shown you, knowing yourself, which part are you good at? Are you good at fixing and doing things or project managing other people? Are you good at the numbers and the finance and the deal analysis? You're not necessarily good at all of it. So focus on your strengths and find other people around you that can do the things that you're not so good at or that you don't enjoy. And when we get to step 6 of our roadmap, and if you remember, I said 60 days to create your financial plan, and then 60 months to financial independence. Well, within the first 60 days, hopefully you've gone through these first 6 steps. And this is when we then assign a wealth coach to our members. And we choose the coach that we think is best fit for our members based on the strategies, based on your wealth dynamics, based on your targets, all sorts of factors. But all of our wealth coaches have followed the Wealth Builders process. Some of them were mentored directly by Kevin many years ago. In fact, a couple of them, John and Toby, are past members. So they've been through the program, they've achieved their financial levels and both quit their jobs and now wanting to give back and help other people to follow in their path. Our wealth coaches are there to support you, to give you guidance every single month. And it's a one-to-one coaching call. So as I mentioned earlier, the program, the Wealth Builders Academy, initially it's 12 months because it takes that amount of time to really get clear on your own plan. And you will have a coach every month to implement that plan. All right, the same coach. So you're not switching from one person to the next every month, starting again, telling them what you're doing. Your coach and you will build a strong bond, and they are there to really, really make a big difference in your life. I'm going to go through the 3rd stage with you now of the 9-step recurring revenue roadmap. Step 7, 8, and 9. So stage 3 is all about building assets. So now you've got a plan. It's now about implementing, taking action, and generating some income. Let's look at step 7, which is focus. It's the wheel of wealth. Now, the wheel of wealth, you can't cheat the wheel, okay? This is a specific process that we teach you when it comes to any strategy, whether it be a property strategy, whether it's business, whether it's writing a book, whether it's doing a joint venture. You must follow this process. Now, I talked earlier about the importance of education. So step 1 of the wheel, there's five stages, 5 steps of the wheel. Let's call them stages. Stage 1 of the wheel. You've got to get some education, all right? So let's take an example, and I'm just going to stick with property just because, as I said, it's one of the most popular. Let's say we've created your map. We've looked at all of your current assets, and we've decided, okay, property, that's something you're interested in. If you follow a certain strategy, you'll generate X amount of money. And over the next 5 years, if you continue on that trajectory, you'll generate enough to be financially secure or financially independent, hopefully, in that period of time. So we begin. What do you know about property? Okay, you might know something about property, but perhaps you wanted to do a strategy like HMOs and you've never done HMOs before. So we'd say, okay, how are you going to find out about HMOs? Well, you could get the rest of the community. So there's lots of people in the Wealth Builders community doing HMOs. You could go there, you could post a message, we could connect you up, and you can meet up for coffees. That might be one way you get your education. You might read some books, you might go on some webinars, you might listen to some podcasts, you might get in some Facebook groups, free education. Or you might say, you know what, there's someone who's done HMOs and they teach it. They do a HMO course online or face-to-face. And you might choose to pay to go along, and that might be how you want to get your education. We will never force you in any one way. We have got an overview of all of the assets. We will teach you enough for you to get going. However, some people like more education, all right? So that's the starting point. However you get it, you need some education. The second stage is support. So who have you got around you to support you, where you can speak to them and you can bounce your ideas? and they've got some experience. They've been there, they've done it. They can guide you. They can tell you what's wrong, what you should be doing, what you should be doing. And they're not just there to try and upsell you. As I've said before, unfortunately, you see this a lot. Oh, well, if you want that information, you've got to pay an extra 10K or whatever. All right. It's not what we do. The support comes from your coaches. The support comes from Kevin and myself. The support comes from our team. The support comes from all of the other Wealth Builder members in the community with you. Okay. So unbiased support. Once you've got that, then you need to start connecting. So if we're sticking with the example of HMOs, who do you know who's already got an HMO, has successfully turned the wheel on the HMO and is generating an income from it? So if you don't know anyone, then again, come to us and we'll say, okay, here's so-and-so in the community. They've done HMOs. They live not too far from you. Go and have a chat, all right? Go and have a look at the HMO. Go and knock on the walls and, kick the skirting board and see if this is for you. So the connection piece is to really ask questions, whatever it is. As I said, it could be any strategy, it could be business, selling things online, investing. Speak to someone who's already done it. Ask them questions and get a good feel whether this is right for you. Now, sometimes when you're turning the wheel and you're following this process, some people get to this stage and they say, you know what? I've been and had a chat with someone. I'm not sure this is for me. I just don't think I've got the time. I don't know if it's going to keep my interest enough. I'm not sure I've got enough money to do it. And they put the wheel down. And that's a really good thing because we don't want you wasting time and energy doing things that are not going to work for you or going down some rabbit hole that's completely the wrong path. So if you can follow this process and quite quickly ascertain that it's not the right strategy for you, or it's just not the right time for this strategy, then you can pick up the wheel and start again with another one. So by following this process, it will keep you safe, it will save you money, and it will save you time. Now, if you get to that stage and you say, yeah, all sounding good so far, next thing is due diligence, a piece that's often skipped out, especially for those creator types and those blaze types of you who are just all about getting out there, just doing it, don't worry, it'll be okay. Due diligence, all right? Making sure you understand what the rules, the regulations, the laws, and also what happens if something goes wrong. How are you going to minimize risk? There's risk in everything, okay? When it comes to building wealth, there's always going to be an element of risk, but you minimize that risk, mitigate the risk as much as possible. So we teach you how to do due diligence, and that's an important step. Once you've followed that, then you're really ready to make a decision. Are you going to turn the wheel? You're going to follow this strategy? You're going to execute on it or not? And if you decide to, then you take guided action with your coach to turn that wheel. Okay, so this is a really key part of the wealth building process. And as I've said already, it will keep you safe and will help you save time and money. So a successful wheel turn should generate results, which is step 8. And these results might come in the way of cash flow or capital. So, perhaps you're doing a flip or just some kind of big deal in business. You might generate a lump sum of money. That's good. Obviously, put that back into wealth building. However, we focus on cash flow, okay? Because cash flow is money you can spend. In order to be financially independent, the goal is to have enough money coming in from your assets every single month that replenishes every single month, and that you can spend, right? So that you can do whatever you want to do. You have the lifestyle, travel, look after your family, good causes, whatever it is for you. But that's really our definition of wealth, is having enough money coming in every month so that you can live the life that you want. And so we measure the cash flow, and we send you out a wealth chart. It's a big A1 chart when people join the academy, and you write up your goals, your targets every month, and you have your thermometer, and we send out pens and you can write on the chart, and it goes up to 10,000, that thermometer, 10,000 a month, because that's the average that our members say they would like to achieve in order to be financially independent. Now, your target might be higher, your target might be lower. It's completely up to you, but 10,000 is the thermometer. So as you start adding more recurring income from different things that you're doing, then you start filling that in. And again, just a visual reminder that you're on the right track, that you're moving in the right direction. And success, or results, I should say, don't always come in the form of income. It'd be foolish to think, or for me to try and, suggest that every month you're going to see more income, more income, more income. The process doesn't work like that. You might go several months, you might go 6 months, you might go 12 months working on something until you actually finally see that money starts to flow in. Okay, so it might be a long time where actually there's nothing to update. And, that's where checking in with your coach every month, because we don't want your confidence or your motivation to drop. Your coach is there to say, look, keep going, don't stop. All right, you're doing the right stuff. And if you keep on doing this, it will work. And then eventually that money comes in. And the idea is once it starts to come in, it doesn't stop. Okay, because the way that we teach you to build assets, to build recurring income, is that it's continuous. For lifetime. All right, that's the goal. Doesn't always work out exactly like that, but the goal is as many assets generating an income, whether it's businesses generating profits, it's intellectual property that's generating royalties, it's properties that are generating rental income, it's solar panels on your house which are generating a payment for you. The many ways there are. Okay, is that you start building them up. And that thermometer just keeps on rising. Okay, the final step then is accelerate. So the key really to get into financial independence is to have multiple pillars with multiple strategies, all working to generate multiple streams of income. And of course, the more pillars you can have, the more secure you are. Okay, so if the government changes some rules, mortgages, interest rates, what you can claim for, what you can't claim for, they change the rules on HMOs, whatever it might be, right? If all your eggs are in one basket, that could be fatal, all right? Your income could get wiped out overnight. So you want to try and diversify as much as possible, all right? So that's the 9-step roadmap, and hopefully that makes sense to you. And you can see that there's a very clear structure, which, has really been years in the making of, I guess, just really putting that into a format that's easy for people to follow. And as I say, whilst everyone's following the same roadmap, everyone's plan will be individual, all right? And we take time to work on your plan, and your coach is there every month to work on your plan. The goal is financial independence, okay? Financial freedom, some people call it. And Paul Ambler, another great example. Now, Paul, again, started at Insecurity. What was key for Paul was more time with his family. And he used Kevin as a sounding board. So, used Kevin more as a mentor. And Paul now generating well in excess of £10,000 per month. I spoke to Paul last week, actually. And, as we often find, once you start to get up to security, then the road from security to independence is really a lot quicker, because you've got the momentum, you know what you're doing, you've got your team around you and your confidence. So Paul's now heading for abundance, and again, really wanted to give back, share everything he's learned to help other members. Perhaps it's really important for you to build something that you'll be able to pass on to your children, to your grandchildren, down the generations for years to come. And this is a huge part of what we build into the Academy, is how to build a lasting legacy. Kevin and myself are actually working on our next program, which is WealthBuilders for Families. So, teaching you the skills and the lessons to be able to pass on to your children so that they're ready, to take this on when the time is right. They understand, they're already thinking in the right way. So exciting things to come, and hopefully some of those reasons resonate with you. The title tonight was, how can you start building cash flow and assets in just 2 hours per week, right? So perhaps I should just outline a bit more about the 2 hours per week. Well, we know that many of our members are busy. Many of our members are working full time. They've got families. They're doing extracurricular things, perhaps, members of the church. There's not a lot of spare time. But I think everyone can find at least 2 hours per week. So if you add that up, it's about a day per month, okay? 8 hours a month. 8 hours is the minimum, really, that you need to start making progress by following this plan. And the way that would break down is, a couple of hours going through some of the training, some of the content, a couple of hours joining our monthly masterminds, having your coaching calls. So coaching calls, 30 minutes each month, very focused. So, straight into it. What are the things you need to discuss? What are the actions you're going to take? And then you have steps for the next 30 days that you can go off and follow. So, adding that up and then having some time to actually go and implement things, right? Actually go out, if it's talking to people about business ideas, if it's, having coffees to set up potential joint ventures, if it's going to view properties, so adding all of that up, if you've got 8 hours a month, 2 hours per week, it's enough. Now, what I find is when people start to get clear on their plan, suddenly they start to find more time. Because when you start to get enthused, when you start to actually see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, when you can actually see that, yes, this is working, you start to get more motivated. You get up a bit earlier. You find an extra half an hour here or there. You make a few more phone calls. So it's funny how the time appears once you start getting excited by your plan. And it's our intention to get a clear plan within the first 60 days. Shocking statistic, 95% of people in the UK never achieve financial independence. Most people are not shown how to achieve financial independence. Of course, not everybody wants to achieve it, but if we're in a room full of 100 people and I said, who would like to be financially independent? I'm pretty sure most people would be putting their hands up, right? What's inside the academy? It's all of the online video training. It's the monthly mastermind sessions. It's the monthly one-to-one coaching calls, like-minded community, online support desk, the buddy groups, our trusted professionals, and our promise to you to help you create a clear plan within 60 days. So if you're interested in finding out more, then your next step is to book a free financial GPS call with me. And on this call, I will go through your current plan. We'll look at each of those 7 pillars together. We'll work out how much do you need to be financially secure, how much do you need to be financially independent. We'll look at how much time you've got to put to this, look at anything that's holding you back, and I will show you how you can start to put your own plan together. And if you feel that the Wealth Builders Academy could be a place that you think you could fit, that could help you to put that plan into practice, and I feel the same, then I will invite you to join. So there's no pressure, there's no sales. It's just an opportunity for us to get to know each other better, for me to give you as much help as possible on that call. And then if the Wealth Builders Academy is something you'd like to find out more about, we can talk about that there and then. Okay, so head to wealthbuilders.co.uk/GPS and grab a space. I love having these calls. I really, really do. Head to wealthbuilders.co.uk/GPS.
Okay, abrupt ending there, but hopefully you got some value out of today's episode, and hopefully you're a bit clearer now on exactly what we do inside the Wealth Builders Academy. And if you would like to join us or simply just have a chat with me to go through your own plan and either see if you're on the right track or get a few pointers as to what else you could be doing to start building more recurring income streams in your life, then book a call with me completely for free. wealthbuilders.co.uk/GPS is the link to go to right now. Get that booked in. Let's go through your plan and let's make 2023 your best year yet. Now, I am looking forward to speaking with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again next week. And before I go, if you enjoyed today's episode, if you think someone else might benefit from it, then please hit the share button, share it with them, and I'll be happy to have a chat with them too. All right, then, you take care. We'll catch up same time, same place next week.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget that we are constantly updating our resources inside the Wealth Builders membership site to help you create, build, and protect your wealth. Head over to wealthbuilders.co.uk/membership right now for free access. That's wealthbuilders.co.uk/membership.